Hi, I'm Larry Levine, law professor and associate dean of diversity, equity, and inclusion here at McGeorge School of Law. I am so excited to get to talk to you about the Jeffrey K. Poilé LGBTQ+ Civil Rights Scholarship. This has been a labor of love for me and many others in this community, where we have now raised over $1 million to use for entering and continuing students who are committed to using their legal education to further the legal rights of the LGBTQ+ community. I am so proud of what the recipients have done with their careers and their dedication to this scholarship and to making the world a more equitable one. And I'm extremely pleased to see what the future will hold. I also can tell you that we're not done. This is just the beginning. My goal is to make McGeorge the gayest law school in America, and I need your help. So, even though we've raised over $1 million, this is just the beginning. So expect me to be knocking and calling and asking for more, because we're going to grow this scholarship into McGeorge's largest scholarship with your help. Thanks.
Relieve some of the burdens on my shoulders, and because of that I have options now where I don't have to go straight into big law after I graduate. So I can do some more nonprofit work instead, where I have that option to at least. But also receiving the scholarship for leadership aspects in the LGBTQ+ community that help bolster my own belief in myself that I am a community leader as well. So it's not only helped me financially, but it's also helped with some personal growth as well.
The scholarship helped educate my family on understanding that just because I'm gay doesn't mean I can't be a professional. My family actually advised me to hide my sexual orientation in my application process. And I'm a black sheep, so I took that advice and threw it right out the window, and I wrote an entire application process about my experiences coming out and how that has shaped my future. So when I received this scholarship, it educated my family and helped them understand that just being LGBTQ+ does not prevent a person from being a professional and or succeeding in life.
I practice employment-based plaintiff side law, basically. So I represent employees who are trying to resolve their matters prior to litigation, and kind of advocating for their needs and their claims.
Took this class with Professor Levine, and it dealt with like sexuality and gender in the legal field, and I really want to work in something that like intersects with that, and particularly in like employment or labor law. I think there's a huge field for that, because discrimination is always ongoing.
Plan is to go into intellectual property and entertainment law to help promote and protect the interests for minority creatives specifically, because I've seen personally how much they are stolen from and not given their credit. So if I can help protect them and advance their interests, I'd be very happy to do that. And I think people forget that minority doesn't just mean racial minority, it also means people in our community as well. So I'd like to help make sure that we keep that in mind when we're trying to promote minority interests.
Definitely work with a lot of LGBTQ employees who have been discriminated against or have been wrongfully terminated because of their sexual orientation or their gender. So that's been a really great opportunity for me to really expand my experience in the employment field, and also feel like I'm helping out a community that I belong to and that I hope to continue to assist throughout my career.
Receiving the scholarship made me feel really excited, because it's always nice receiving a scholarship. It also felt great receiving something from the LGBTQ community at McGeorge, since I'm also part of the LGBTQ community. So it really felt great knowing that they had my back and they were supporting me, and it just kept going for all 3 years. So I just made my year when I always received that.
So when I got into law school, I decided to go when I was 29 years old in 2009. And, the price tag was much heftier than my undergrad degree. So to be a recipient of a scholarship showed, one, that Larry and the law school had confidence in my ability to succeed in the school. That's why they give you the scholarship. Not just to succeed in the school, but then they're taking a bet that that student is going to go out and do good things in the community and for the community. So it's an honor and it is a deep responsibility to receive the scholarship and to then go out and give back to the community to help fund the scholarship in the future, but also to make sure that you are doing the legal work that the scholarship is intended to help progress.
I was very involved. And one of my first, leadership roles was with Lambda, and Professor Levine is one of the, obviously the big supporters of Lambda, our faculty advisor. And I was in Lambda for all 3 years that I was at McGeorge. So I got to work with him really closely, both, in academics. I took a few classes with him. I took sexual orientation and gender identity. I had torts with him. And then also on the organizing front, doing the Fall Spectacular and trying to plan that and other events and educational events and workshops so that our students, faculty, and staff are also getting access to, what Lambda has to offer. So I had a really close relationship with Professor Levine. I couldn't have asked for a better professor, both for torts and especially for sexual orientation and gender identity. He's very aware of where his blind points are in advocacy and law, and he's willing to learn from the students as much as we are willing to learn from him, which I think is pretty rare in the legal field. So I think, I have so much love for Professor Levine and everything that he's accomplished, both at McGeorge, outside of McGeorge, and the advocacy that he does that shows that to us, LGBTQ plus students, that we have somewhere to go when things aren't going perfectly, when, school may not feel like the right place for us, law school might not feel like the right place for us. We always have that support and that person that we can turn to.
So Professor Levine, I met him. He wasn't my torts professor, but he subbed, or he co-professored my torts class, and he was just an amazing professor to just learn from. And I believe my 3L year, he was my professor for the sexuality and gender and the legal field class, and it was just amazing hearing his own input in all these cases that dealt with LGBTQ issues. And I was also treasurer of Lambda at McGeorge, so also worked with him on that.
So I have not had Professor Levine in class just yet. I am a 1L, so I expect to take him in the future. But since I'm also staff on campus, I've had the pleasure of working with him in a more professional setting on a lot of DEI projects that we've initiated and started on campus. So I'm very aware of the work that he does here and what he wants to see in the future, and I'm very proud to be a part of that, and no matter how small my part was. So that's particularly why I'm proud of this scholarship too, because it is Professor Levine's scholarship.
Great relationship. At least I think so. I did not have Larry in my torts class. I will say it's probably for the best that I was not his student. But I was the president of the Lambda Society on campus for my senior year, and an avid participant each year that I was at McGeorge. And so I worked very closely with Larry on many things, including the Fall Spectacular and raising money for the scholarship. He does a real tired drag queen, but we love it, right? And so I have a very good relationship with him. I miss him a lot. Larry, hello. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for doing this scholarship. It means the world to many students like myself. So, but I did not have to suffer you in class.